People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It is, what time is it? It's 8:37. Hello there. You're watching and listening to Breakfast with Stephen and Tamsin.
Right, let's take a look at today's front pages for you. The front page of The Sun, the partner of missing Nicola Bulley speaks out and fears someone is keeping it secret what really happened to her.
Onto The Times, it's saying learn work skills or face benefit cuts. That's what the jobless are being told about their universal credit payments, apparently.
The Guardian leads with Tories plot childcare giveaway as proposals to expand free care offer at the next election.
In the Express this morning, King Charles wants an answer from Harry about whether or not he's coming to the coronation, so it claims.
And finally, the Daily Star says the sun is falling to bits, as boffins say a large chunk of the sun has fallen off.
It's fallen off. I've never heard anything more ridiculous in all my life. The world is not going to... I mean, it says we could do without this right now, but the sun is falling to bits. The world is not going to end because of the sun. Not yet. I mean, it will eventually, but not for a few million years. So we're all right. We're all right. Let's have a look through the papers there with author Ella Whelan and journalist Andy Jones. Morning, you too.
Morning.
Ella, let's get all romantic, should we? In the run-up to Valentine's Day, of course. And chatbots.
Yes, well, there's hope for the single, according to a professor from the Leverhulme Centre for the Future of Intelligence at Cambridge University, who's looking at the things like ChatGBT, which is this new sort of bot that is AI piece of technology that people have been having some fun with online, which basically soaks up all the kind of information from the internet, vocabulary and facts and things like that, and is able to do things like, from sort of relatively simple things like write letters right up to apparently, fall in love with real life people and have relationships.
Oh, that sounds healthy.
That's, yeah, well, the paper actually quotes this 2013 film, Her, which had Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson in it, which is a really wonderful film, all about a bachelor who falls in love with a AI bot, and she actually leaves him, so it's a bit sad. But, maybe
that's great ending.
Maybe there's
ditched by a robot.
Maybe there's not hope for the single, but it's just a kind of fascinating thing, which is that can AI get so intelligent and so complex that it could rival a human relationship, the thing that is most complex, which is love. And, actually the professor from the Leverhulme Centre suggests that, this could be a good thing for people who want to cheat or who are a bit bored with their partner, which is really mean.
I think that's a terrible thing. That's a disgraceful thing.
I can tell you this is already happening. A lot of dating sites are already using bots. If they've got a sort of a gender imbalance, there's not enough men and too many women, for instance, they'll have bots to sort of fill the gaps and have conversations with people to give their interest. This was exposed several years ago. There's an
interesting when he has what you're wearing right now.
Well, quite, yeah. But there's an affairs
web processors and a chip.
Yeah, there was an affairs website a few years ago called Ashley Madison,
I think that's disgusting.
An affairs website.
I think it's disgusting.
What I was going to say is there's an affairs website, and they had a data leak. Someone exposed all of their users, saying all of these people having an affairs. And it was actually then later learned that they weren't having affairs; they were just speaking to bots. And this affairs website,
they were wanting to have affairs.
Absolutely, but the relevance to the story, as I'm saying, is that these people were. This is sort of 5-6 years ago. They were just having a conversation online, and so they were going, "Oh, my wife's gone out. Let's have a naughty chat." And it was just a bot, an AI bot that was just chatting away.
I hope their other halves divorced them on the spot.
Is it cheating if you're having an affair with a bot?
Yes.
Or is it still a bot?
It's all about intent. It's about intent. If you think you're chatting to someone else to have a bit on the side,
and also
throw the book at you.
It's incredibly sort of dystopian, because the whole thing about, sex is one thing, physical love is one thing, which, people cheat for, but the emotional connection you're meant to have with someone, it's actually worse to think that someone didn't want to, whisper sweet nothings in your ear at night anymore when was doing it instead into their phone.
What about going out for dinner? That kind of simple thing. You can't do that with a bot, can you?
No, I just think stuff like that, is disgrace. I mean, because you've got me on the Ashley Madison thing. We had something once that was put forward, because you get these people put forward stories for you to cover, all these PR companies and things, and one was, it's a survey done by Ashley Madison. This was only a few months ago, and I just said, we're not doing it. I refuse to have it on the show because I just think that is disgraceful. Undermines marriage and love and all the things I believe in.
Yeah.
On my heart.
You're a romantic.
I am a romantic. I really am a romantic, and I hate all of that. You don't want to be with someone, leave them, not cheat.
Yeah.
Good morals. That's what we want.
Oh, look at me. I've got on my high horse now to really set me off as that. Oh.
Shall we move on then? Teenage pupils, Andy, in The Guardian. Teenage pupils still persistently absent from school since the pandemic.
Yes.
Don't start me on this one.
A third of 15-year-olds have been persistently absent from classrooms in England during the current school year. This is after the pandemic, and so a lot of these, there's an inference of this story that a lot of these children, they've been, obviously it was a culture shock for all of us being at home for a lengthy period in lockdown, but a lot of these people's, they're only just starting school. There's a 2-year block where they don't go to school. They're then unable to get back into the habits of the school term, and they're described as persistently absent. Persistently absent is when you miss more than 10% of lessons. So that means, obviously, you know, for those who not going to lessons and not doing GCSE maths, that is 10%, as in sort of 1 day every 2 weeks, which is quite a lot. I mean, I always thought if you missed quite a bit of school 1 day every 2 weeks, you get phone calls home, you get sort of referred to sort of social services, all of this sort of thing. And yet in a third of cases across England, this simply isn't happening.
And it's difficult to force children to go to school, parents and school, like you say. You can't, you know, they're not going to go. What do you do?
Yeah, and it bleeds into the earlier story that we're doing today about people being unable to get jobs and things. And I know that there's not always consistent reasons for those things, but kids who can't manage school then find the world of work also very difficult because it's, again, the same set parameters, have to turn up every single day, have to sort of obey hierarchical structures. And if it's not learned at an early age, it's then quite hard to bed it in. But we have huge problems with undiagnosed mental health problems with young people, lack of ability to access mental health problems, also rampant bullying, etc. things of social media.
Some of them are just little rips as well. I mean, which is, you know, and I mean that kind of seriously in terms of there is a bit of a discipline problem at schools. But you can sort of not understand, but it sort of logically follows that if you have a period of time, you know, throughout the pandemic where you say that school isn't really that important, we're going to close schools, you don't really have to go to school to kids and send that message out, it's quite hard to then crack the whip and say, actually, forget all that. Yeah. You do have to be in at 9 o'clock every morning. So I think parents are waging quite a hard battle at the moment to try and undo everything that was done throughout the pandemic to make schools seem like just this
and social anxiety as well.
Down.
I think a lot of children have social anxiety after COVID, don't know how to interact with their friends in school. It sounds a bit ridiculous, but it's true. I think it's...
Oh dear. Well, we need to crack the whip on everybody, I think. There we go. I totally get your point about you get out the habit of it, don't you?
But you just think this thing that you've been told for your whole life, you must go to school, and then suddenly for like 2 years you don't.
Yeah. Can we have a look at the Boris Johnson and the BBC? This is in the Independent this morning.
Yes, this carrying on this saga about Richard Sharp and whether or not the BBC chair is going to be forced to step down because of this sort of quasi-corruption allegation about the fact that Mr. Sharp facilitated a meeting between two people which ended up in a loan of £800,000 to Boris Johnson. And he has said that he feels really embarrassed, that he wished he'd just said, meet. He basically was a kind of middleman of getting two people to meet each other. But the question is whether or not he actually did break the official rules, whether
he was appointed as a result
of his sort of favour of introducing these two people, even if that is proven to be sort of by the book and it was just all a bit of an embarrassing mistake. The whole kind of whiff of cronyism, of sort of corruption, of everybody's greasy polls and people shaking hands is not a good look for the BBC, and it's also becoming a little bit like a repeated story within this current government.
Do you know what I don't understand though? Because I had to cut you out, but we're just coming to the end of the time. But I still want my little rant. Is that if Boris Johnson, he had to borrow money, didn't he, to redecorate number 10 or number 11, flat number 11, £800,000 borrowing this. He's just made £5 million in the last 6 months. since he was Prime Minister, since he stopped being Prime Minister. Why is he needing to borrow any money?
Well, he's got a spending habit, you know, gold wallpaper and all that.
A lot of kids.
I mean, yeah.
And divorces.
And, yeah. But, I mean, there's more money floating about than soft Mick. You do wonder. Ella, Andy, we've got to leave it there. It's been really good to see you both this morning. Thank you very much.